Marathon Cooking here. Something I've noticed, because I've been following a lot of YouTube channels, particularly vegan channels, is there's a huge spike in the raw food movement, particularly the raw, vegan, fruitarian food movement. And while there are certainly some health benefits to raw fruit, and you might even be able to live very healthily on raw fruit, there's no doubt that many of these individuals, Durian Ryder, Michael Arnstein, are super fit, super healthy individuals. However, my big concern is one of the reasons why I support a mostly vegan diet, I live a mostly vegan life, it's good for you, and it's good for the environment. It's good all the way around. It makes you feel good when you eat vegan food because it's energy rich, it's carbohydrate dense, it's usually very nutritious, but also you don't feel guilty having eaten an animal that's been mistreated. And more importantly, in my book, for the environmental reasons, you don't feel guilty having eaten a product that you took your corn that you grew in Iowa and then you shipped it down to Texas, and then in Texas you fed it to the cow, and then you shipped the cow to get butchered, and then you butchered the cow, and then you froze the cow meat, the beef, and then you shipped it off to the supermarket, which is thousands of miles in a very inefficient system, uses massive amounts of fossil fuel to do that process, lots and lots of resources, terrible for the environment. There's no doubt meat is terrible for the environment. If you grow grain and you eat the grain, or if you grow corn and you eat the corn, or if you grow soy and eat the soy, well, guess what? You just cut down the traveling distance and the efficiency just went way up. You're suddenly using a lot less resources. Well, there's a huge problem in the raw fruitarian vegan movement because a lot of these people live in cold climates. Right? Durian Ryder's having the fruit festival in Thailand, which I think is a great idea because that will solve kind of this problem. If you want to eat fruitarianism, you want to live a fruitarian life, live in a tropical climate, because a lot of these people live in cold climates. They live in the Northeast, the Midwest. There's some videos online of people in snow eating a raw fruitarian vegan diet. Well, guess what? Fruit is perishable. If you eat perishable fruit, that means it was shipped not that long ago, within a week or 2 weeks, sometimes even shorter, from California, if you're lucky, from Texas, if you're lucky. Probably not. It's probably from South America. It's probably from Central America. It's probably from the Caribbean. It might even be from Africa. I was in Whole Foods and I saw oranges from Africa. So if you're eating fruit from Africa or from South America or Central America as your staple, that's what you're loading up on, well, guess what? It's the same as shipping beef thousands of miles as it is shipping fruit thousands of miles. At least with the beef, you can freeze it. You're not eating it fresh. It can stay in the supermarket's freezer for a long time. Fruit goes bad really quickly. A lot of the fruit dies on the travel there. It gets banged up, it gets cut up, it doesn't make the trip, some of it doesn't get eaten, you miss a flight here. There's a lot of things that can go wrong in that transport, and you lose a lot of it. And then on top of that, a lot of the fruit never gets eaten and gets thrown out. So that's a huge problem with the fruitarian diet. It's terrible for the environment. It's terrible for global warming. When I read about, or actually it was a radio talk that had Michael Arnstein, who's a fantastic human being, super runner, 2:28 marathon, all fruitarian. That's fantastic. Really successful guy. However, he has 5 refrigerators. If that doesn't say narcissism and not thinking about the big picture and sustainability, I don't know what does. That's the least sustainable way to live your life. If you have 5 refrigerators, it says there's something very wrong with your lifestyle, that it's that unsustainable. Okay? If your diet revolves around shipping your food thousands of miles on planes, it's not sustainable. If you want to live this lifestyle, move to a tropical area and eat lots of tropical fruit. Because all this fruit that we're getting, especially if you live in New York City or Boston or anywhere that has seasons, there's a very short window where we can get good fruit. You can get apples, and that's about it. Everything else is coming from Ecuador, from Brazil, from the Caribbean, from Mexico, and they're shipping it up here, and they're flying it on planes. It's coming really quickly. If it's coming a shorter distance, it might be coming from California. It might be coming from Texas, and they managed to get it on tractor trailers. But a lot of this is just so wasteful. Imagine the amount of fossil fuels required to transport your fruit over several days from Brazil to New York. I mean, that's insane. It's worse than beef in many ways because we're at least aware of the problem, and yet we're making it worse. Now, I love veganism for a simple reason. It's cheap. Veganism is cheap. Guess what? You buy brown rice for a few dollars. Guess what happens? It sits on your shelf for a year. It's still good. They can ship it, and Whole Foods orders too much rice. Guess what? It doesn't go bad. It stays there, and it's going to be good for as long as they have it. You buy corn. For some reason, corn is... People don't like to talk about corn in the vegan community because it has a GMO reputation, and that's true. Soybeans as well. But a lot of these products, corn, quinoa, other grains, they last for a long time on the shelf. You ship them. Doesn't require special transport. It doesn't have to be a particular temperature. With fruit, it can't be too hot. It can't be too cold. Sometimes they lock special gases in the fruit where it's stored to keep it fresher. You don't need that with grains. Guess what? They seal it in the bag in California where I get my rice. They ship it to Whole Foods, and it stays there. When I buy it, I can buy 5 bags. It'll stay on my pantry shelf. Veganism should be good for the environment and good for your body. The Fruitarian movement is not good for the environment. So before you just think about your body, which Fruitarianism might be good for your body, that's a big debate, think about the environmental damage you're causing with your 5 refrigerators. Think about the narcissistic life you're living to be so self-centered on your wealthy family that lives a privileged life, like many of us do. I live in New York City. That you can have and lead this life. Think about it. Still time to change. Veganism should be healthy, nutritious, nutrient dense, and good for the environment.